Okay, the hidden history of the African American warrior is at the bottom of the hour now. I'm awake this morning, shocked, concerned. We're in a very, very bad place now, folks. Very, very bad, bad place. Worldwide, especially. In the United States particularly. If you see what is happening today in politics as Republican versus Democrat, then you're going to miss this. Because it isn't Republican versus Democrat, not for me. What it is for me is it's America versus Russia. It is plutocracy and autocracies, or just simply put, dictatorship versus a republic. I have referred to Donald John as the Manchurian president, and he's proving that. This is not about politics. This is about my concern for my country, who has a leader now who was the first pick of Vladimir Putin and has a history in Russia doing business with oligarchs, and even has lied about his relationships with Vladimir Putin. I put forward a scenario to you some time ago, folks, that really wasn't my own. It was what Ronald Reagan used to take down and destroy the Soviet Union. It was a combination of military bluffing and economics, especially economics, and the fact that Russia was overextended in Afghanistan. The Union dissolved. Russia's still there, but the concept of a Soviet Union with member states, like what we would have here with the United States, dissolved. They became autonomous on their own. Still, however, with ties to Russia, allies to Russia. But the Soviet Union had broken up, and subsequently Russia stopped being a superpower. We are a United States. And it is because of that union, the founding fathers understood this, because of that union it makes us strong. You know, there's strength in numbers, especially when it's a cohesive body, held together, in this case, by the Constitution. Now, what happened to Russia is what's happening to us now. I'm telling you. Same thing. It started, of course, with Ronald Reagan and saying, take down this wall, and then the tay-tay-tay with Gorbachev. Serious sanctions. Russia trying to flex and decided to stop taking chicken and grain. There were some tariffs. There was serious sanctions on uranium and the like. Russia tried to keep up with America when it came to defense spending. Ronald Reagan spent like everything, and even when he didn't spend, he indicated and camouflaged that he was spending on Star Wars. Found out that the Star Wars, well, supposedly is not accurate, or wasn't real. But it was the spending that brought the Soviet Union to its knees. That combined with a military that was overextended. Of course, there was another caveat. There was America's pick to be the new president after Gorbachev. Boris Yeltsin. We sowed seeds of discontent inside of Russia using pamphlets and using newspapers and fake news. We did. I was around then. Remember it very well. Some of you who were around remember this. Boris Yeltsin, the alcoholic, became the president of Russia. It had dissolved. Soviet Union had dissolved. Boris Yeltsin comes in. Gorbachev actually wanted to move over to the United States. All that time, Vladimir Putin was in KGB. He saw this. He knows. And you don't have to take my word for it. You could go down bullet point by bullet point. Just look at the timeline for the dissolution of the Soviet Union. He won't necessarily say specifically that of our influence, but in some cases it will, and annotate it. In other cases, we know. We know. I mean, I watched it. So now turn the clock forward. Here it is, 2016. Russia does the same exact thing, now utilizing fake news, Facebook, or floating stories, or any way they can, even getting stories out in certain news agencies. And they have their guy. He's not an alcoholic. Their guy is Donald John. And I can prove that. Now, you got to understand, it's not happening. Subsequently, there are other things going on. Like, for instance, what is not being said is this huge, incredible, one of the largest bases Russia ever built is right now about to be completed in the North Pole. Now, listen to me closely here, folks. Donald John has said nothing, absolutely positively nothing about this. His predecessor, President Barack Obama, actually did military maneuvers there in the North Pole in preparation, actually caused the problem, and understood quite well. With the polar cap melting, you got to understand, it makes Russia now on at least two of our fronts. To the west, the Bering Straits. You know, Russia does, in fact, come pretty close to Alaska, just ask Sarah Palin. And yes, they do have bases there. And then to the northeast of us, just to the north of Quebec. So now you got this strong military base. Do I think that he's going to attack us? I don't think it's about that. I don't know. The idea of nuclear annihilation is not a very good thing. I don't think it's about that. Some of you say, oh, you think bombs going to fall on us? They could, but I don't think that's the case. I think what it is he's using Ronald Reagan's and George Herbert Walker Bush's playbook, and he's doing it very well. And now he's got his guy. His guy is in our White House. So he does something else. Just when Donald John became president, he announced that he had this zigzag missile that is a cruise missile that can cruise just under radar, and its nuclear capabilities. Now that's against, Mad Dog Matter says, argued that's against the rules that goes back to Glasnost and our deproliferation, to which Vladimir Putin said to our general, oh, no, duh.
No, it's yes, yet.
Okay, yet, thank you. To which our president said absolutely nothing. He didn't even defend his own generals. So now he comes out yesterday and he literally brags on it. Oh, not only that. Vladimir Putin comes out and says not only does he have a weapon that is indefensible by the United States, he also has an unmanned submersible. That's like a submarine without people on it that is capable of carrying a nuke. Now combine that with being in the North Pole, and then you understand the checkmate. You have it? Here's Vladimir Putin by way of translation.
No other country in the world has this kind of arsenal. Why did we do all this? Why did we agree on it? There were absolutely no secrets about it. We said it absolutely publicly to all our colleagues. Despite all the problems that we encountered in terms of the economy and finance, industry and so on, Russia still has the greatest nuclear potential in the world, but nobody listened to us. Now listen.
Stop it there. Now listen. Who do you think he's asking to listen? Trumpsters? Who do you think he's asking to listen? Now, here's the question. Is he bluffing like Ronald Reagan and wanting us to overextend ourselves and now developing some kind of nukes? Well, you can bet your bottom dollar right now. It's already started. His boy has already said we're going to double the amount that we're spending in defense spending, and it's going to send us down the track. Is he bluffing or is it real? And if it's real, we're now in what we call in chess, we're in check. Wouldn't you say, Ishmael? Not a checkmate. Checkmate means you basically lost the game.
No moves.
That means you can't make a move. So he's got us in check, and now he's waiting for our move. And his boy is the chess master. Really? It could very well be checkmate in my book, given the fact that there has been absolutely, positively no response from Donald John. None. Nada. Not even instructing his own intelligence to combat and shut down the cyber warfare and attack that's being done by Russia. You cannot ignore this. This is not Republican versus Democrat for me. This is your country against Russia, and you need to act like it by expecting your president and your Congress. Congress passed the sanctions overwhelmingly. One of the few bills that made it through Congress overwhelmingly. Your president and mine is not acted upon them at all. But there was something else here that Vladimir Putin said in that speech. He said that he was going to cut poverty in his country in half. Oh, how is he going to do that? My hypothesis about the ruble is coming true, folks. He's looking to force down the dollar, and it's going down. Most of you can't tell that by the stock market, but trust me on this. Right now, there is some concern by the Federal Reserve about inflation and the like. Yeah, they probably raised the rates. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, we're spending more than we're making. And we've got a president and a Congress who just cut taxes. And how do you think countries get revenue? Well, he wants to build his damn wall. There's something wrong here. At the very least, those of you who are Trumpsters need to have just a little bit of concern. Vladimir Putin's bragging, greatest arsenal in the world, and there's a hush coming from the White House. One of the biggest bases in the world in the North Pole, within 2 or 3 hours from Quebec, Canada. There's also a reason, and don't ask me how I know this, but I do. There's a reason why the President of Canada has been meeting with Donald John, and it's been to try to move in the direction of building and confronting Vladimir Putin and building a base there on the northern border of Canada. Now, let me just put it this way and I'll move on, because I know we've got to talk about other stuff, like Wakanda. If you don't believe this, if you think Rip Daniels is just playing politics, okay. If you think this is nothing, okay. What if you're wrong? Every instance and every variable I've given is coming true, bro. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
Where's the ruble, by the way? He feels that he is going to cut. Right now, the poverty rate in Russia is around 15% of their population, and it's come down significantly. It really has. I mean, going back to the late 1980s, it was way up there. I mean, we were almost 40% poverty. When they get rich, we're going to get poor, because our dollar value will sink. And I've been in countries as of late. I mean, throughout Africa, I've been where our dollar was worth 2,000 of their dollars. They're in the francs there in Senegal. So, I think we're in a very bad place. We've just got a guy, and now it's at 56?
Almost 57.
56 cents to the dollar, the ruble. It was last year, when Donald John took office, up around 70, 69, 65 to 70. It's getting stronger. If I'm wrong, I would welcome it. But we can't afford to be wrong here, folks. Can't afford that. Our country hangs in the balance, and while some people are playing politics. All right. So she told little white lies, and now she's got a white ass out of the White House. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a little tacky. That's too much whiteness.
A little bit, I think.
What chaos? Guys, come on. Even those of you who are supporters got to be scratching your head and going, what? The inner circle of this guy has all either jumped ship, got fired, but I mean, you would expect that from a guy who had a show that was about firing. Look, there's a piece here. Where is it? USA Today. If you really need to read this piece. It's a piece by Jason Sadler. Russia coincidence theory is fantasy. And he lays it out step by step. Call it, let's say, Donald Trump's campaign and Russia either work together to help elect our current president, or we are witnessing the greatest coincidence since the Big Bang. Call it collusion. Call it collaboration. Or quote Special Counsel Robert Mueller in its indictments and call it conspiracy against the United States. Just don't call it coincidence, and he's right. Folks, this is serious stuff. And I just think many of you don't want to admit that you've got a president who's just inept, but more than that, he is taking his marching orders from Vladimir Putin. He is the president who bragged about one American being fired in front of 2 Russian oligarchs. Agents. It doesn't get any worse than this. It just doesn't, folks. Not for my country. Not politics. And he goes in and he lays out this, Settler lays it out from 2013 when Donald John said this. Do you think Putin will be going to the Miss Universe pageant in November in Moscow? If so, will he become my new best friend? I'm quoting him.
I hope so. I really do.
He said it when he was 67 years old.
Want to go horseback riding with him? It would be much, much fun, I think.
The next month, the Internet Research Agency registered in Russia to begin their recent Mueller indictment called Information Warfare Against the United States. Take a read, you'll see. This is not politics. We've already had an election. This is about whether or not we are on the precipice of losing what we know as the greatest country in the world by way of disillusionment. Not attack. I think that's far-fetched. I really do. I think Vladimir Putin right now is flexing just to get us to do exactly what Ronald Reagan got them to do. I do. However, you still have to counter it. But we have a president who's not going to do that. He wants to build the military nuclear arsenal, he says.
Whose?
Willy-nilly. Well, ours, he says. To what end is the question. It's almost as if, I'm talking to people who are just, how do you put this? It's like I'm talking to folks, and I always harken back to Donald John.
How stupid are the people of the country?
Saying that. I mean, you can't ignore what's in front of your very eyes here. You can't do that. Then he said something yesterday, which, by the way, I'm hopeful that he's being honest when he says he's taking on the NRA and what he'd like to do to, as it applies to gun control. Some suggestions are good. The ultimate suggestion has not come. I think he's flexing. I do. I think he's pandering for votes. I mean, folks, when you read his book and you read anything else, everything the guy's done has been about him. he'd come out like a fat rat but burn all the stockholders. I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, ask Jeff Clampett Sessions. I mean, here's the guy that first jumped on board with him, and now he is Mr. Disgraceful. By the way, Jeffy Boy came out. Do you know that Donald Judge said that Donald John called him Mr. Magoo? He doesn't look like Mr. Magoo. I think he looks like Granny Clampett.
He looks exactly like Granny Clampett. You got the squinty eyes a little bit, though.
However,
He is a Clampett.
so he meets, has this listening session. He's talking with Democrats and Republicans, good thing, about how they will proceed with guns. Interestingly enough, there are some folks who were not in that room. I don't remember seeing Mitch McConnell there. I don't remember seeing Ernie either. Paul Ryan. But he said something that should send shivers down every American, but especially you oxy-conservatives. Listen to what this guy said when he was talking about getting guns from individuals who should not have them. That he thinks. Hang on. I want to back it up. I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. He's saying what to do with people who have guns that who he thinks should not have them. Who he thinks should not have them. Listen to this.
Or might take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times, by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court.
Run that back. Take the guns first.
Take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system.
Now you got to understand what just happened. Mike Pence, his own vice president, had just simply said, well, you've got to go through due process to take a gun. Yours truly has already told you. Law enforcement can only take your weapon when you are under arrest. Or if by chance you're in a federal facility, or if by chance they're going through martial law. But the reality is, for the average American, they can't take your gun. Even if you are under arrest, they can leave your gun there unless it's evidence. The truth is, there has to be due process. You've got a president sitting in the White House in that chair saying, take the guns without process, without court. That sends shivers down your spine. I'm gonna get what Pence said before. So just so that you guys know, this is not Rip Daniels making this up. Mike Pence, his own vice president, said, well, there's got to be some due process before you take a gun. Oh, take the guns first, and then take it to court. Don't get me wrong. I think there should be a bill that says that there are people who are a threat to themselves and to others. Now, typically, here's how law enforcement deals with that. They don't take your gun, they take you. You are under arrest. And once you're in their custody, then they can deny any right you have. With the exception of your right to remain silent. That's it. They can't deny you that right. But you have a sitting president to say that in the midst of Vladimir Putin flexing and talking about his bombs. Take the guns first and then go to court because that takes so long. If you are a conservative and you still support this guy, trust me on this, you must fit his definition. You got to be. Got to be. Extraordinary.
How stupid are the people of the country?
You want to call and defend that? Oh, I know. You want to explain it away. What you heard, you really didn't hear. What he has said was, what he really means is, there you go again, Rip. You're hating. You just hate him. I mean, folks, we cannot continue down this road. And it's not for a Democrat. I don't give a damn who wins. We won't have a country. I'm telling you, this guy is showing beyond the shadow of a doubt that he represents Russia. And every oxy-conservative talk show host represents the same. They, too, put forward this whole fake narrative. Oh, yeah, it's a deep state. No, it's got to be Mueller. It's got to be now. Look, the guy turns on people that he appoints. He doesn't listen to his own intelligence because he has none. He's following the orders of the guy in Moscow.
Exactly.
And there's plenty of evidence to show it. Do you realize that there have been gas attacks in Syria? Hundreds of babies all sprawled out, being watered down and hosed. Sarin gas was used.
Where's the red line?
Oh, last time, Donald John, your guy, big tough boy, went in and bombed the tarmac. The very next hour, the Syrians were bombed again. Oh, look, thump that test. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, that Donald John boy, oh, yeah, he tough guy. Look what he did, bro.
Oh, they're bombing the tarmac.
He bombed, he bombed some planes. Well, actually, it wasn't even planes. It was some...
No, he bombed the asphalt. But he dropped them bombs, though. He dropped them bombs. He sure did.
So once again, babies, I guess Ivanka has not come forward and said, Daddy, look at the poor babies. They're sitting there with foam coming from their mouths. They were gassed. I guess now it's not politically expedient. Oh, it was then. You know what was happening then. Comey. That's what was happening then. There's something wrong here. Act like it. If there's ever a time now to rush to the polls and vote and get everybody who supports this guy out, it's now. It's the time. There's no way in Hades I'm going to vote for anybody who's going to support this Manchurian, this pseudo-Russian who's simply looking to feather his nest. So let me play Pence. This is what Pence said now. Before Donald John says, we don't need due process in America to take your guns. Here it is.
The ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
like
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times, by the time you go to court, it takes so long.
There you have it. Thank you. You heard it from him. Now explain it away. Call me back and just let me know. You Trumpettes out there. Just let me know what he meant by that. Just explain that. Or are you waiting for the Becky boy, Hannity boy, or Russian Limbaugh to give you your marching orders so you can call me and regurgitate like some vomit off the streets of New Orleans? Spew that kind of worthless matter on the ground. I'm really troubled by this, folks, because I projected this. I said this, bro. It was just a scenario. It's just a hypothesis. This is what, because I kept wondering, why would he want Donald John to win? What does he have in this? What does he want? I get it. He wants a dissolution of these United States because then it minimizes our control. It minimizes our wealth. It minimizes everything, folks. How does he do that? By minimizing, first and foremost, our economy, upsetting our economy, and, of course, thereby causing what you're seeing now, the strife. So, you want to explain it away, fine. But the idea of having a nuclear-powered, unmanned submersible that can hold a warhead is not very comforting. Especially when you're living near the water like we are. I don't like it. I don't think necessarily. Look, I don't fear nuclear holocaust. I really don't, folks, because it could be mutual annihilation. And that whole thing has been explained. Vladimir knows that. But what Vladimir wants is to minimize and de-democratize the United States, like what you have in Russia. What you have, ladies and gentlemen, is basically an oligarchy. If that's what you have. You don't have, you're going to have elections. Vladimir Putin's up for election. He's way ahead of everyone, only because everyone else who wants to run against him, for the most part, who could win, it's been either arrested or killed. But each one of the tenets of my scenario is coming true, like it or not. All right, well, your boy Mac Daniels is in. He's running against Donald John's boy, Roger Wicker.
Yeah, I can't wait for him to refuse to shake my hand again. Every opportunity I find Chris McDaniel, I'll put my hand in his face and see what he does, and I'm going to record it so you guys can see what he does too.
He doesn't like bold. Well, he does like bold colors, but you.
I'm not a bold color.
Well,
that's the issue. You see, I'm kind of a muted color.
I know.
I'm kind of an in-between
Taupe,
type
kind of
thing.
a taupe, kind of a taupe.
They can't stand bold colors. That's why you shake my hand.
So then you've got David Berria running for the Senate. That's a good thing.
St. Louis is very own. I can't wait for this showdown.
That's a very good thing, especially for South Mississippi, I can tell you that.
Definitely.
Folks, if you're not gearing up for this spring and summer's election, you need to. If you're not a registered voter, you need to register. And I mean throughout this state. Very crucial elections. Harper is out there in central Mississippi. That's going to be a very good race. I am very adamant about anyone anyone who is supporting Donald John, I'm sorry, I have to be against. I'll consider the policies. I will. But there's something eerily wrong here, folks. The man is too silent about our arch enemy. Whether we like it or not, Ronald Reagan defined the Soviet Union as the evil empire. Well, that empire, well, dissolved, one can argue, or did it? Mother Russia is still Mother Russia. The United States has now got one of the largest planes in the world. Did you see it fly?
I did not see this thing fly. You ever see like
It's a double centrifuge there. It's this odd-looking thing, kind of a pontoon kind of thing. You need to go look at it. The wingspan is larger than a football field. It's real strange. It's a jet, actually.
Straddle launch.
And I don't know what, you see it?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's, I don't know, is it military or is it Elon Musk doing this?
God, I hope not.
I can't figure out, and then what its usage would be.
It's built by Microsoft's co-founder Paul Allen.
Oh, is it?
It's not a military
Oh.
deal.
So maybe they're looking to fly more people, more places.
Maybe so. Not space, though.
All right, folks, let me just tell you where we're going to go here, folks. There's been a lot of discussion about the movie.
The Black Panther.
Yes. And I was kind of struck by the fact that the two characters, main characters, Killmonger and T'Challa?
T'Challa.
He is the Black Panther.
Yes.
Killmonger is a killer. And he is the nemesis of T'Challa. And it seemed as though Killmonger has great support in many circles.
Oh, yeah, a lot of fans.
We're going to get into that after we talk about the hidden history of those African-American warriors when we come back.
It's about that time to get away. Make your reservations, pack your